Well, Yemen's humanitarian crisis has been considered the worst in the world for years. And now, though, experts fear it could get even worse as the country deals with the growing coronavirus outbreak, as well as a shortage in international aid. CNN's Sam Carley joins me live from Abu Dhabi with more on this. It really is kind of a perfect storm for Yemen, right?
Things couldn't be worse, John. Just recently, for example, there have been, and there are predicted to be more rainstorms that are going to hit the coastline there, which will help to spread the endemic infections, particularly of cholera. More than 100,000 people have already been diagnosed with cholera in the Yemen, and now we are seeing some staggering statistics coming out of the temporary capital in Aden. This is our report.
Delivery of the dead by pickup truck. No mourners, just medics in hazmat suits. Another suspected coronavirus victim has a lonely burial. No one knows the real scale of the pandemic in Yemen, but here in Aden, authorities are recording a death rate 3 times higher than normal.
The UN has been warning for months now that the virus is likely to spread faster, more widely, and with deadlier consequences in Yemen than almost anywhere else. There's no question that there are hundreds, probably thousands, maybe even now tens of thousands of people who have been impacted by COVID.
Cholera is endemic here. The UN feeds 12 million people, half the country. 5 years of war has forced hundreds of thousands from their homes into camps, hotbeds for infection. He said, cholera and the wars are one thing and corona is something else. But with corona, no matter where you go, you find it. Blasted by war, Yemen's health services were already near collapse when the virus struck. Dr. Subail told CNN, doctors are hiding from their places of work and staying at home in fear of the virus and the scarcity of occupational safety capabilities that has caused a huge crisis. Anwar's brother-in-law died of what is suspected to have been COVID-19. He says that 3 hospitals turned them away. Who should we complain to? We're tired of this life. We live to survive. Every morning we wake up to hear of 10 or 15 people who've died, he said. And now the UN is warning that its operations in Yemen are facing massive cuts after a $1 billion shortfall in international donations.
You know, a week before the first COVID case was confirmed in Yemen, we ran out of money and had to stop allowances for 10,000 frontline health workers all across the country in the middle of COVID. It's devastating.
For a nation already on life support, COVID-19 is a blow that could be fatal for a vast number of Yemenis.
Now, John, a lot of that funding shortfall for the United Nations is being blamed effectively on the United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia and Kuwait, who between them used to come up with over $1 billion worth of aid. Now, of course, the Saudis and the Emiratis have been backing the government in the civil war against the northern Houthis. And certainly Emirati officials are saying they don't want to stop funding. They just want to stop funding the UN because they don't believe that the UN can manage to keep the money away from their Houthi enemies. So they're faced with a conundrum there. And certainly the position of the UN is, given that more than half the country is dependent on some form of UN aid, they really need the money.
Yeah, to say the least. OK, Sam, thank you. Sam Carley there with the very latest on the situation in Yemen.